The air was thick with the acrid stench of scorched metal and the pungent odor of plasma fire, as Corporal Evelyn Winters, her piercing blue eyes scanning the scene, surveyed the utter devastation around her. Her squad, once a formidable team of skilled warriors, Sergeant Jackson, Privates Ramirez and Chen, Corporal Nguyen, now lay lifeless, their bodies strewn across the scorched earth of the Halo installation. Evelyn had been deployed alongside her squad on what they had been told was a vital mission to defend a critical Forerunner artifact, a task that would turn the tide of the war against the relentless Covenant. As the Covenant forces closed in, Evelyn watched helplessly as her teammates were systematically eliminated, their cries of anguish echoing through the eerie silence of the Halo installation. Her heart sank as she looked upon the lifeless forms of her comrades, their once vibrant expressions frozen in a mix of shock and anguish. She could still hear their desperate cries echoing in her mind, the sound of plasma fire and the rumble of Covenant vehicles, a haunting backdrop to their final moments. Evelyn had felt her heart sink as the realization hit her. The mission was nothing more than a decoy, a ploy to distract the Covenant while the high-ranking UNSC officers made their escape, using her squad as expendable bait. As the Covenant forces closed in, Evelyn watched in horror as her teammates were systematically eliminated, their anguished cries piercing the eerie silence of the Halo installation. She saw Sergeant Jackson take a plasma bolt to the chest, his eyes wide with shock as he crumpled to the ground. Private Ramirez, his leg badly wounded, dragged himself towards Evelyn, only to be cut down by a barrage of plasma fire. Corporal Nguyen fought valiantly, her assault rifle blazing, until a Covenant elite landed a devastating blow, crushing her skull with its massive fist. Evelyn felt helpless, her heart racing as she realized the true nature of their mission. It had all been a lie, a decoy to distract the Covenant, while the high-ranking UNSC officers made their escape, using her squad as expendable bait. The realization was like a knife to her gut, her loyalty to the UNSC shaken to the core. In a last-ditch effort to salvage the situation, the UNSC deployed their most formidable warrior, the legendary Master Chief, to turn the tide of the battle. Evelyn watched in awe as the towering Spartan effortlessly cut through the Covenant forces, his movements a blur of precision and power. The elites and grunts fell before him, their plasma weapons no match for the Master Chief's skill and determination. Evelyn couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope as she witnessed the Master Chief's display of prowess, but it was quickly extinguished as she realized the true nature of his presence. He was not there to save them, but to ensure the success of the UNSC's deceitful plan. The Master Chief's arrival was merely a means to prolong the distraction, to keep the Covenant occupied while the higher-ups made their escape. As the battle raged on, Evelyn watched the Master Chief with a mix of awe and resentment, her once unwavering loyalty to the UNSC now tainted by the bitter realization of their betrayal. She knew that the Spartan was aware of the deception, his stoic expression a silent acknowledgement of the sacrifice her squad had made. As the battle drew to a close, the Master Chief removed his iconic helmet, his rugged features and chiseled jawline now exposed. Evelyn studied his face, searching for any hint of emotion, any sign that he shared her outrage at the UNSC's betrayal. But his expression remained stoic, his piercing gaze betraying no hint of the turmoil that must have been raging within him. Evelyn knew that the Master Chief was aware of the deception, his silent acknowledgement of the sacrifice her squad had made a silent condemnation of the UNSC's actions. She could see it in the way his brow furrowed ever so slightly, the way his lips pressed into a thin line, the weight of the burden he carried etched into every line of his face. Yet, despite the Master Chief's role in prolonging the distraction, Evelyn couldn't bring herself to resent him. She knew that he was bound by duty, a soldier sworn to follow orders, no matter how abhorrent. It was the UNSC's betrayal, the callous disregard for the lives of her comrades, that had shattered her faith in the very institution she had dedicated her life to serving. As Evelyn met the Master Chief's unwavering gaze, she felt a surge of anger and resentment, not towards the Spartan, but towards the UNSC officials who had orchestrated this twisted charade. They had used her squad as expendable pawns, sacrificing them to ensure their own escape, and the Master Chief's presence was merely a means to that end. Evelyn's hands clenched into fists, her nails digging into the palms of her hands as she fought to contain the rage that threatened to consume her. She had trusted the UNSC, had believed in their cause, and now that trust lay shattered at her feet, replaced by a burning desire for vengeance. The Master Chief, sensing the turmoil within Evelyn, extended a hand, his voice low and somber. "Come with me, Corporal. We need to get you out of here." Evelyn stared at the Spartan's outstretched hand, her mind racing. She could feel the weight of her fallen comrades, their sacrifice etched into her very soul. In that moment, she made a decision that would forever alter the course of her life. "No," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I won't leave them behind. I'd rather die here with my squad than go back and face the UNSC." The Master Chief's eyes widened slightly, a flicker of understanding passing across his features. He nodded, his hand falling back to his side, and without another word, he turned and made his way towards the waiting UNSC transport, leaving Evelyn alone amidst the ruins of her shattered dreams. As the Spartan's figure disappeared into the distance, Evelyn sank to her knees, her tears mingling with the blood and ash that covered the ground. She knew that her decision would likely cost her life, but in that moment, it was the only choice she could make. She would not abandon her comrades, not even in the face of the UNSC's betrayal. Evelyn closed her eyes, accepting her fate, when a sudden rumble in the distance caught her attention. She looked up to see the familiar silhouettes of Covenant ships, their plasma cannons charging, poised to unleash a devastating barrage at her location. She knew that she had mere moments before the Covenant's wrath would descend upon her, reducing her and her fallen comrades to ashes. As the Covenant ships loomed ever closer, Evelyn steeled her resolve, her gaze unwavering. She had made her choice, and she would face the consequences head-on. With a deep breath, she rose to her feet, her eyes fixed on the approaching ships, ready to meet her end alongside the brothers and sisters she had sworn to protect. The air crackled with the energy of the Covenant's plasma weapons, and Evelyn braced herself for the inevitable. In that moment, she knew that her story, once a tale of loyalty and sacrifice, had taken a dark and twisted turn, one that would echo through the annals of the Halo universe for generations to come.